What's up, everyone? It's been a while, or at least it feels like it's been a while since we've talked about Orange County, but it's only been a week. But the team didn't play this past weekend, so maybe that's why it feels like it's been a while. But there was a great result that is keeping Orange County's great run of form intact when they came up victorious in Miami this past Wednesday. Hopefully, they can keep things going with their upcoming matches, which include a match this weekend against Rhode Island. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Miami match. Hey, we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, World Cup stuff, all this other stuff. Let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Show of Champions. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast. How's it going, soccer fans? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black SoccerCast, the first and only show dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Samora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club and a little bit of World Cup mixed in. Let's get this thing going. And who's helping me out for this episode? Well, first, we've got Brad. Brad, how are we doing?
Oh, been doing well. I had to check if I was pulling a Brad. I am not pulling a Brad so far.
That's great to hear. And for those that did not know, this past match on Wednesday, both Brad and I were at Six Flags, just different Six Flags parks, which was pretty interesting. Interesting little fun fact there. One person that wasn't at a Six Flags park, though, is Larry, the bearded one. Larry, why weren't you at a Six Flags park last Wednesday?
Because I'm not a child.
Fair. How have you been?
I'm good, man. You guys know this time of year I live on baseball fields. So the opportunity to go to Six Flags is not there because instead I'm rubbing my chest because I got blasted by a fastball a couple of days ago and it still kind of hurts. So that's why I was not there. But everything is great otherwise. The team's looking fantastic. The U.S. men's team is looking great. Everything is beautiful. And it's the last day of Pride Month, so I had to wear my county pride shirt tonight just to say hi, everybody.
That's where Larry's been. He's been taking balls from all directions. One other person helping us up for this episode, and that is to help us out in talking about our upcoming opponent because, to be fair, I don't think any of us know much about Rhode Island, but our guest, Matt, definitely knows Rhode Island. He covers Rhode Island for Raising Anchor. Matt, thank you for joining us. It's late for you out there, so thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm in my Hawaiian pajama shirt right now. Maybe have the Mexico game on the side screen here. I won't talk too much about it. But Ray, I'm disappointed you didn't ask me about my Six Flags experience on the weekend.
Were you? Well, our Six Flags was on Wednesday, but were you at Six Flags this past weekend?
No, but I lived in Six Flags for 15 years, so I feel like I've been there more than any of you on the screen combined.
So I would assume you didn't literally live there, but you probably worked, is what I'm assuming.
I lived in the shadow of Colossus, my friend. I lived in Santa Clarita for 15 years back in the day. So,
you would love what they've done to that ride over the last 10, 15 years with Twisted Colossus. It's by my favorite ride there. Don't shake your head, Brad. It's an awesome ride. But we're not here to talk about Six Flags. They don't sponsor this show, so we're not going to talk about them anymore. We're going to talk about soccer. We will talk about the Miami match, but we want to honor and respect Matt's time. He's on the East Coast, so we're going to actually do a little bit of a reverse order here. We're going to talk about the upcoming match, which sees Orange County in their, I don't know how long it's been now, road trip for league play. But they are making the trip out to Rhode Island and facing a Rhode Island team who, I mean, when you look at the numbers, record wise and whatnot, not too far off from what Orange County does. I know nothing about Rhode Island this season. I'm going to be honest. I haven't even watched one single match. So Matt, I want you to give us, for anyone that's like me that hasn't paid attention to Rhode Island from our end of things, what can you tell us about Rhode Island? How's the season going? Are they meeting expectations? Are they exceeding? Give us the quick 5-minute brief on the team.
Yeah, no, the elevator pitch goes like this. Rhode Island FC very much living up to their tradition so far here in this third season in the Ocean State of starting slow. This team historically has always taken its time to find its feet and to grow into the season. And we seem to be on that same trajectory here now in year three. The one thing I would put as a caveat when you look at the record and the performance so far is there are some, let's call it, outliers when it comes to the stats that tell us this team is moving already in an explosive direction towards the positive. It's just the fact that the key thing going on right now is this team is significantly behind in terms of games played. You know, when you look at the table overall, a lot of teams already at 14 matches played will be as high as 15 on this weekend. Rhode Island FC sits at the bottom of both conferences with the fewest games played at just 11. So it's no surprise to see this team sitting in ninth place. There were concerns that this team would drop even further if some results went towards Birmingham and Loudoun's way over the gap. Mind me, we haven't played a game, guys, since I think it was June 8th, June 9th, and so almost a month off. It's a long time to go for a team like this that was building momentum in the right direction. You know, we've got 2 losses, a draw, and 2 wins across the last 5, but we've been starting to see results against tough opponents. It's where we thought we would get those smash and grab easy 3 points that we haven't seen success. You know, you guys are going to break down the Miami game here in a bit. Miami, when we first ran into them earlier this season away in Miami, dropped points there, did not look competitive. It's a team that everyone has kind of now been blowing through as Miami continues to fall further and further down the table standings. And then another team, Sporting Club Jacksonville, up until just a few weeks ago, they had sat on 1 point in the entirety of the season. And that 1 point, a draw against Rhode Island in our debut earlier this year. So it's a team that if you look at it from just observing from like FOTMob or whatever stat site you pull, you could say like, hey, a little bit of inconsistency. But when you get into those underlying moments that matter, one, we have one of the most high-flying offenses in the league right now. Again, with those games in hand, we have a +6 goal differential. And again, when you look at the table, that's only 1 goal off from your own Orange County right now, despite those extra 3 games. So Rhode Island is finding goals this year, and it's coming primarily in the adjustments in getting Leo Afonso from Inter Miami. He's not the Leo we wanted from Inter Miami, guys, but he's the one we could afford. He's been instrumental in reinforcing that attack. There were some holes after we saw the departure of Albert Chico Dequa going back to Pittsburgh, and then of course Maxi Rodriguez returning to Detroit. We weren't sure what this offense would look like here in year 3. Leo Afonso has absolutely fit the bill up in that kind of inverted left winger or secondary front facing striker. But the real magic this year, guys, has been Jojea Quizera. We didn't know this at the time, but he has been experimented as a left winger for this club these previous 2 seasons. His natural playing position for both his national team and also other clubs is as a right winger. Head coach Kano Smith finally deploying him in his natural state, his natural position, and we have been seeing goals and assists come flying from the Rwandan. He has been lighting up the game for Rhode Island FC, and that combination has come first and foremost with JJ Williams, another player that's probably been attributed to why we've seen such slow starts in both year 1 and year 2. JJ Williams has missed at least the first 60% of the opening third of the season due to injuries or some kind of other thing that's been going on. JJ Williams, thank goodness, has stayed healthy so far this entire season, and there's a reason that he's in contention right now for midseason player of the year. He is lighting the league on fire, and I don't think he can be stopped right now from finding a goal. You know, I heard earlier today in one of the World Cup broadcasts, there's 3 things that we know in this life that are absolute. It's death, it's taxes, and it's Erling Haaland finding a goal. JJ Williams may make a case for that as the USL example here inside the championship.
But, Matt, may I just say that
go, Larry.
I was going to say, may I just say that yes, he is scoring goals, but neither him nor Erling Haaland has had to go up against the Orange County Soccer Club defense led by Tom Brewitt. So, go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead, Larry. Finish.
No, I was done. I just wanted to let Matt know, just in case he wasn't aware. I'm not sure how much he knows about us.
Well, I was going to jump on there really quick because I know Matt talked about the 3 matches in hand compared to Orange County. But if you look at the two teams, they're sitting on the exact same number of goals allowed at 15. Orange County is a very tough defense. So, there's 3 more matches that Orange County has played, and we're still equal on the goals there. The other thing I was just going to call out, because you talked about the schedule, and I think we talked about this last week, and I have no scientific reasoning behind a lot of the stuff I say. Sometimes it's just very dumb stuff. But I sounded smart last week when I was talking about this, is you've played basically the 2 gimme teams in the USL Championship in Sporting Jacks and Brooklyn. You've got your 3 points against Brooklyn, but I'm not going to count those. So really, I'm going to say Rhode Island is sitting on 12 points right now heading to this match. So maybe not so similar from what I was looking at beginning. Matt, do you understand when I say that? Like those seem like 2 teams that almost everyone is beating, correct?
I mean, listen, if we want to start throwing shade out there, for every Brooklyn FC, for every Sporting Jacks, there's a Monterey Bay. That right now, apparently, Lexington is in the doghouse. I don't know how that's come to be. Now, granted, the Western Conference, a much tighter conference, I think, this year. Definitely right now seeing Tampa Bay open things wide with Sporting Jacks running the opposite direction. But I do agree, and I think that there's a lot of credit that needs to go towards Orange County right now. I'm a Benzini apologist. There were conversations before he ever went to Tormenta from the New England area, from his time in University of Vermont, to try to get a striker of that profile into the Rhode Island FC system. It did not work our way, obviously, now with you guys. And then, again, I'm from Los Angeles at a point in my life, so Ethan Zubak, sign me up anytime. The amount of Los Angeles talent that I've seen go through your squad, there's a respectable dose of both offense and defense, and it's great to see this clicking for Orange County right now. But I will counter then, since you're bringing up defenses, while we both are tied at conceded goals, Rhode Island FC has historically had one of the tightest defenses over the last 3 seasons consecutively, and we haven't changed a lot in that time. In fact, if anything, we've only upgraded with a couple of other options, with Aldair Sanchez coming from Sacramento last season, and then now Nick Scardina coming from Charlotte FC. The core of that defensive unit, captained by, I know you guys don't probably like him from his time at the Loyal, but with Koke Vegas, the defense was never the problem for Rhode Island FC. Last year, it was just its offense having the 4th worst goal output in the league. They've now already smashed that. I think they're only 3 goals shy of eclipsing their entire season's goal production from last year. So it's exciting to see where this team is. But you're right also, and I have to put the asterisk out there, guys, those are just games in hand, and they don't mean anything until the results roll through for them.
Well, and I also want to just remind everyone, if you look at Orange County this past Wednesday against Miami, I believe we started 3 natural center backs and a defensive midfielder. That was our back line. So really, we started no traditional or legit outside defenders. It was all players that are naturally the center backs. And yes, we conceded 2 goals against Miami. It was a tough match, but I think we all can also remember Orange County had played the weekend previous in Vegas and then flew straight out to Miami. So that's not something I think a lot of USL teams are used to, of playing a match and then directly flying to the next opponent, not stopping at home for a few days or something like that. So that's where that credit goes. And as much as you talk, Matt, about consistently over the last 3 years and not many changes being made, Orange County, I think it's become a theme for us. We talk about almost every show, who's out, who's playing out of position, who's having to step up. And we're seeing stuff like that. So I'm going to stop talking now for a little bit, because I've taken a lot of the talking here. I want to let Larry and Brad ask some stuff. So Larry, go for it.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, it's good to have you on the show. I don't think when you came on the show last year that I was able to make it to that one. So it's nice to meet you. Glad to have you here. You talked about Rhode Island starting slow. I'm going to be honest with you. You're sitting in 9th place. You're on, I think it's 15 points with 3 games in hand. If you have those 3 wins, you guys jump all the way as high as 3rd place. I don't agree with you. That's not a slow start. To me, it looks like the team's doing pretty good. They're putting goals in the back of the net. 11 games, 21 goals. Those are impressive numbers. So you've got your 2 top guys up front in JJ, and I cannot say his last name. How do you say his name?
Quizera,
thank you. So you've got those 2. Who else does Orange County need to look out for to possibly be putting the ball in the back of the net on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, just to go back real fast on, like, when I say start slow, there's been a very loud cry or push from both the front office and the fans that there's a home playoff berth this season. We've been into the Eastern Conference Finals now 2 times in a row. We don't like to talk about what happened in 2024 away at Colo Spigs. The fans at least want to capture some of that magic at home. So right now they're being a little bit greedy, and anything below the playoff line, even if we are 3 wins puts us into 3rd place, like it just doesn't feel like enough. And to your point too, we've seen multi-goal production wins at home for almost every single game of the season, putting up at least 2 goals, but I think most of the games have been 3 goals if we've won them. So it's just this, like, the eyeball test doesn't match the underlying performance of what's going on for the team. But to get to the question you did ask, the players right now to watch out for offensively will remain that trio of JJ Williams, Leo Afonso, and Jojea Quizera. The Quizera and Afonso on the wings, JJ Williams the center forward. What's interesting, though, is we've had a little bit of a kind of shakeup in the last few weeks during this off time that we've had, where we lost Logan Dorsey. He was one of the most prolific MLS Next Pro players coming out of Minnesota United 2's system. We weren't able to keep him, unfortunately, due to a lack of playing time. He requested a transfer out of the club. He's now playing with FC Tulsa. The recall, and then the transfer happened almost immediately. So when I say the power that we do have, it's kind of like, where does the depth, where do the support players come into? At that point, you could talk to Noah Fuson. Busy Atkinson, if you guys go in and look at goals per 90, he's actually the most productive player in the league, but he's not getting a ton of minutes. He's already seen, I think he's got 3 goals for the season, so his per 90 stats are off the chart. But we do have a couple of options. Still, if Orange County can isolate those 3 players, they're going to have a much better time of it. The thing is that where we shine to get the ball and the productivity, the chance creation, it really comes from the rest of the team. And so it's hard to just say there's 1 player, there's 2 players to watch out for. Our kind of midfield holding, pair of 6s in Clay Holstead and Hugo Bacharach have been phenomenal in both their miles covered this season, their distribution, and their passes. They've led as like hockey assists in almost half of our goal contributions this season. And our wingers right now, or at least our fullbacks, I should say, as we've now kind of switched over to a back 4 in Aldair Sanchez on the left and Nick Scardina on the right, are just really starting to combine with those players like Afonso and Quizera. They're giving them the freedom to move forward, which historically, when we were playing in back 3s or back 5s, you saw this Rhode Island team be very cagey, very compact, low blocks, wanting to push everything wide, and never really got forward. Now with this kind of getting unchained and going forward with this new back 4 setup we have, it's these wings is where we really want to watch, and that's where the battles are going to be determined. I can't say it's an individual player, but you're going to see a lot of action from side to side.
Harry, you're pulling a Brad.
Hello, and Matt, now you know what pulling a Brad is. That is starting to talk while you are muted because there was some noise in the background. I was saying that, yeah, I agree with that. There's going to be a lot of side-to-side play. I think there's going to be a lot of ball movement in this game. I also think we're going to end up with a very low-scoring game this time around because, Orange County doesn't score goals, and at the same time, we don't give up goals. So I think it's going to be a very fun game to watch. We do have a listener question from Gabriel. He wants to know, 1 year in, how do you guys like your shiny new stadium?
We love it as a fan group. It feels good to have a permanent home, a place that no MLS club can try to buy and steal from us, or any of those kinds of other shenanigans. We're never, when we talk about scheduling, we're never the secondary or tertiary consideration. It's always Rhode Island FC first and foremost, and it's fun, and it's a beautiful stadium, and I can't wait for a chance to see everyone come out like your beautiful selves and come and visit and experience it someday. That being said, there seems to be something, and Coach Cano said this last year, and he's kind of reinforced it in the post-game press conferences this season, that because this stadium and the facilities are so nice, that it's almost like the opponents that come to town kind of turn up. They show out in a bigger way because there's a little bit more pride in going to a facility like this than, and no shade to Loudon, but Segra Field that has 92 people at it and you're changing in trailer parks, cargo containers. So like there's something to be said that the opponent shows up in a bigger way as well. And we've seen it all season. Like even though we're getting these amazing performances against teams like Charleston, if Birmingham Legion wakes up and puts 3 on us and we lose 3-1 in our home stadium, it's not just the player performance on the day. It's the fact that they get to play and just a top class facility. And I felt it myself when we've seen Rhode Island FC go down to a place like Louisville. Like, that facility is probably the best in the league, let's be honest. And it just changes your overall experience. If it changes it like a fan, I can't even imagine what it's like for the players.
Oh, absolutely, no question. It definitely makes a difference for the players. Orange County has been on a very hot streak, and we haven't even been home in, I think, 9 weeks. I think we're going into either 9 or 10 weeks at this point. What kind of game plan does Rhode Island need to put together to stop a team that hasn't even been in their own home soil forever, but is still finding ways to win, score goals, not a lot, but still score goals and prevent other teams from scoring? What does Rhode Island have to do on Saturday?
Kano sometimes gets in his way and he'll tinker to the opponent, and then other times he'll play because he feels that the best 11 he's putting on the field can outperform whatever opponent that we see on the day. We saw more of that last season, and it kind of shot us in the foot in the Eastern Conference Final. But this season, it seems like he's given up some of the defensive prowess of this team to go for the jugular, go for the attack. So when I think about how the tactics line up, and from the tape I've watched so far in Orange County, I think you're right. I think this will be a limited goal affair depending on which way it goes. But for Rhode Island, it's not really about changing or bending to Orange County as much as where will this battle be decided on the pitch. From what I've seen so far, I think this is going to be a midfield battle more than anything, because both sets of these teams seem like they're well prepped for counters of wing play. And I don't know enough about Orange County yet, so I'd love to have the dialogue if you want to. But Rhode Island's entire game right now is a waved press where they'll turn it on for a bit, then they'll turn it off. But what they really want to do is they want to suffocate. They want to maintain a high block where they are just continuously recycling the ball, recovering the ball in your final third, and choking you out, to where that's why they're one of the highest teams in terms of shot volume in the league right now, because they're just constantly getting that second ball back and taking a look at goal. And I think that's been Rhode Island's kind of MO from the beginning of the season. But that comes at the risk then with such a high pressure and a high line, is that there's a lot of emergency or defensive scrambling to get back. And we've seen us get countered a couple too many times, I think, that people are comfortable to admit. So I know with players like Bazzini, like I know what you guys have in your arsenal. I think it's going to be, does Rhode Island FC want to take its foot off the gas and play a little bit more of a midline block and contain Orange County, or do they want to keep playing the style that they want? The real question, though, is what does this pause of time do for Rhode Island? Because right now they haven't played a professional match in 3 weeks. And so what does that look like, considering for you guys, as you've been game after game with this consistent run in this streak that you have? What does that do for a team that's getting a cold start again while you're coming in red hot? That's the bigger conversation. Will this team have the stamina? Will they have the legs? Or will they see kind of like a lethargic and pedantic start as they kind of re-spark into this mid-season jump?
I think it's going to be very interesting to find out. Now, in regards to tactics, what you're going to learn about me, Matt, is I am all passion and no tactics. But we got somebody who on screen is sitting right up there above you. I think he could probably better address that than me. So, Matt, awesome having you here. Looking forward to talking again on Thursday. Brad, all you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know if I share the same tactical praise that you are giving me. I think that's more of a Dylan thing. May he join us again in the future. Nothing's wrong with him. I don't want to make it sound like something's wrong. But, I am the type of person who kind of likes to ask the more retrospective questions. And obviously, you led off your time on the show by saying that the team's not played too much so far this season, but there is still a good sample size. I believe you said a couple of games in hand. I don't want to go too much down the rabbit hole there, but I think you guys are a little bit more than a third of the way through the year yourselves. Kind of give a letter grade, regular season alone. I'm not talking about the Prinks Tire Cup, or what we like to affectionately refer to as the anti-Malort Cup on this show. But looking at your guys' record, what would you guys give as a grade for where you're at in the season so far?
I mean, if you're going strictly off table standing, it's probably a B, a low B, because results matter at the end of the day. This is a results-based industry, and if this team doesn't make the playoffs, I mean, that could be the end of a lot of these players' time with Rhode Island FC, maybe even Connor Smith. But again, there's that other lying, target or metric of getting a home playoff berth. So we're way off from that in terms of current standing. But like we've been talking about, these games in hand can significantly kind of influence where we go with that. So if we're talking from a retro perspective, and I think the smart fan, or at least the non-casual soccer fan, I think that they can recognize that this team should probably be in a high, like A. Like if we have an S tier, I'm going to say a high A. If we don't have S, I'll do a low A. But right now, the big correction that needed to happen last year again was that goal production. Right, we only fourth worst team in the championship, and that was with a team like Miami actually doing significantly better than us. So when you look at the struggles that this team had, Coach Kano, as both a head coach and the general manager, I think he got this right, and we have to give him the flowers where they're due. Rhode Island FC now leading second in the total goals per game category, 1.9 goals per game right now. The only team that's outpacing that, it's not even Tampa, guys. It's Charleston Battery still right now, even though Tampa's running away with just about every other stat line. But Rhode Island FC is putting shots on target. They're taking a bunch of shots. They're scoring a bunch of goals. And for the fan group that saw so few, so I gave you the stat fourth worst, but we only saw 19 goals at home last season across all competitions. And 5 of those came in the very last game of the year against Tampa Bay. So if you do the goals per game average for Rhode Island fans at home, it was abysmal. And so just the amount of entertainment that this team has created now in this third season, second at Centerville Bank Stadium, I think that can't be ignored. And I think there's a lot of hope, there's a lot of appreciation, and there's a lot of expectations that we'll still finish much higher up this table standing. So if I had to give that, I'd give it personally as an A, but if you're going by the where the table standings are, it would have to be a little bit lower. But this team has more to show, and they have more to do in the second and third legs of this overall season.
All right, wonderful. Quick other questions. We do a lot of youth players on our team, something we cover frequently, given that we are one of the teams that's kind of the forefront of the pathway to pro and moving on to Europe. Is there any players on Rhode Island you want to quickly highlight that follows the same trajectory as some of the players from Orange County?
There's no players, sadly, because Rhode Island FC's football model right now is there's no academy product tie. There's no developing youth right now. We have either taken in players and taken chances, or we've brought in loans from MLS Next Pro sides, but there is no partnership. Now, that doesn't say that they don't have a relationship built with the private academies that exist around Rhode Island and the New England area, but there isn't that pipeline yet. And from what I've had conversations with ownership, they don't want to really explore that just yet. I don't know why. Every successful club that's doing it, like you guys, I think you guys are the best. I think Louisville's right behind you in terms of producing talent, but there just seems to be no appetite at this time, as they want to first, get this club ready for premiership and getting into the USL Premier, and then they also want to online a women's team. I think the academy's just a little bit further down in the priority order, so we rely heavily on the greater New England kind of landscape of things and just finding players. We rely heavily on on loans from MLS Next Pro teams, and there's a pretty good scouting group that really goes after these collegiate players. Again, Bazzini was a player we all thought we would be getting, and he slipped through our fingers to go to a USL 1 side. So that just doesn't seem like that's in the DNA. I wish it was, but right now it's just not a story that Rhode Island FC can partake in.
All right. I find that actually quite interesting. I totally understand that point of view, given the team does see their priorities a little bit differently, and if they have the funding to do that, I think that's perfectly acceptable. I do want to quickly wrap up and be respectful of your time as we're approaching 30 minutes, though. Moving forward, looking at this game, what's your score prediction for this upcoming weekend's game?
So there's a thing about this team that you don't guys probably know, especially I think because Ray said like, oh, I don't even know Rhode Island's game this season, but there is one interesting piece that I want to talk about. So Rhode Island FC has one particular problem with this squad, and that is that they have a problem with your guys' head coach. And because of that, Danny Stone has mopped the floor with Rhode Island FC every time that they have ever interacted, both with Orange County and his time with Phoenix Rising. So I feel like for Connor Smith, at some point he's going to have to take this personally, because he has never seen success against this coach. And Kano's been a pretty successful coach now across his entire career, the second most tenured remaining coach in the championship, if you believe it or not. And we've only been a club for 3 seasons. So I think this game will be tight because I don't think Kano wants to overexpose. And I think, again, he knows that this team's coming off of a pretty big break. And so I think this will be probably a 1-0 game either direction, where I won't say which because I'm a RIFC homer, so I want it to be Rhode Island, but I'll give you this instead. If Rhode Island scores first, that's it. You guys will not get back into the game. If Orange County scores first, I don't see a reason why you guys can't keep us off the score sheet. And I think that's going to be the real ultimate predictor. If you guys don't score in the first half, I think it's Rhode Island FC's game to have. They've scored 80% of their goals so far this season in the second half. So I see us kind of bunkering, holding on, testing and probing, and then getting that goal in that second half.
Okay, well, Matt, maybe you may or may not be aware that the last time Orange County conceded the first goal and won a game was like 4 years ago, up until 2 weeks ago. And then they did it twice in a row. Gave up the first goal, came back, and got the 3 points. Having said that, I don't view this as a game where it's going to be who scores first. End of the day, I think we're going to come out of there with a 1-1 draw. Orange County is going to leave Rhode Island happily with 1 point and then go on to the next stop and pick up 3 and come back to Orange County with 4 more points in their back pocket.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take over next. Go ahead, Ray.
No, I was going to say, what do you think, Brad?
Oh, for me, I would love to see kind of how both teams deal with being on a mental health break over the last week. If for those of you guys listening at home, the league was on a mental health break this past weekend. But for me, I'm going to say, Orange County probably starts off a little bit stronger given that Rhode Island hasn't played since the 13th. And given the decorative theme of this upcoming weekend, I'm going to go ahead and say the final score is still going to end up 2 blue and yellow bottle rockets to 2 orange and black Roman candles.
Careful, guys. We're having this game on the 4th of July for a reason. America's freedom was started in New England. Rhode Island, one of the most important contributors to that freedom. So we have an advantage when we want to talk about fireworks that we're going to see on the night. They might come from Rhode Island.
Okay.
And Ray, before you generative AI,
so is it my turn?
Fireworks, yes, go ahead.
I should do that with some fireworks, huh? Well, I like Brad with his number of goals, but I have a different score line than Brad. I'm going with a 3-1 score line in favor of Orange County. We're going to ruin the fireworks in Rhode Island. Sorry, Matt, we're going to ruin your weekend, but hey, that's what Orange County is meant to do here. I love that Chip looks sad on this graphic that I created, by the way.
The rain might actually ruin the fireworks anyways. There's projected to be rain and thunderstorms. So maybe expect a rain delay or a thunder delay as well. It's been working out for all of you on the West Coast watching the World Cup because I get to stay up till 1 a.m. watching games and you guys get to go to bed at like 9 p.m. at night. So, I love that we have a country where we still can't figure out how to get all the games in a regular time where people operate as regular people. But it's okay. I digress.
Hey, yeah, there still are some World Cup games that are starting at like 9 p.m. Pacific Coast time, which I don't know how y'all on the East Coast are doing that one. That's a crazy start time for the East Coasters. What is that, a midnight kickoff for y'all? That's crazy.
It's really luckily we kept the bars open till 4 a.m. in Rhode Island for this.
Woo-hoo!
The question, though, the problem was that the bartenders didn't know they were supposed to stay open till 4 a.m. So we've been getting kicked out of those games right at closing time because they don't get the memo. So it's been an experience here.
Hey, Matt, let our listeners know if they want to hear more from you and your show, where they can find you. We'll let you go to respect your time.
Yeah, you guys can find us at RIFC Podcast or at Raising Anchor. Choose your destiny on that. For some reason, I didn't realize I should pick one at the very beginning, so we just have both socials. But yeah, you can find us. We're a show that goes on every week, twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. when we're not in the middle of World Cup break. So right now we haven't been on live broadcast for quite a while. We've been doing player interviews. We're dropping Leo Afonso from Brazil. He's one of those forwards that I mentioned earlier. His interview will drop tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And you can just follow along on the journey. We talk about the greater, larger landscape that is USL Championship, and it's just been a great time to be hanging with you guys. You guys are one of the OGs, and when we were first starting the show, we were trying to figure it out. How did we want to be? What did we want to look like when we grew up? And you guys were a big part of influencing how we wanted to start our show. So thanks for having me on. I always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we try to learn each and every episode. We try to figure out just one extra little thing we could do better, and I hopefully we're doing it right. Matt, as always, thank you for joining our show. We look forward to talking to you. Best of luck the rest of the season, except for this weekend.
Take care, guys.
See you, Matt.
I
Awesome.
have to say before we move on, sweet talking shouldn't get you nowhere, but somehow when Matt says it, it'll get him anywhere.
Right? And he has great lighting. You should take a lesson, Brad.
I had a light that I bought and I broke it like 2 episodes in, so I have to get a new one. That's what happens when you buy the cheap ones. Let's move on because we don't have much time left, but we do want to talk about the match that happened this past Wednesday. Saw Orange County travel out to Miami to take on, or at Pitbull Stadium. That's thus the reason I have Pitbull crying in the Miami FC kit here. Orange County heads out. They, like Larry said, concede the first goal, but come back, fight back, and get the victory. 3-something.
4-2.
What was it? 3-2.
3-2.
3-2. I could, it's been so long. I couldn't remember. Did we concede that second goal in this match, or was I thinking about the Vegas match? 3-2 Orange County victorious in Miami with like 5 fans in attendance, which
Andy,
actually, no,
Andy,
there was like
Andy,
10.
buzz in and tell him. Yes, Andy.
Ray, are you there?
Go for it. Yeah.
The score was 4-2.
Okay, 4-2.
I said it like 7 times. Jesus Christ.
Coaster.
Matt wants to be like us, really?
Yeah, insisting it was 3-2. The final score was 4-2. You can tell that Ray does not follow our own show's social media, where I posted on OCSC podcast, OCSC SoccerCast on Instagram that the final score was 4-2.
What was the final score there? 3-1?
Here we go.
Save me, Jeebus.
Oh, fun stuff. I apologize, producer Andy and my fellow co-host. Hey, I forgot about that last goal. Again, I was busy on roller coasters, and yeah, it's been a while. It's been too long. This is what happens when a game was like almost a week ago. As an older gentleman, I start forgetting things that happened that far back. But okay, Orange County victorious 4-2 in Miami. I think 90% of the fans of the 20 fans in attendance were Orange County fans, which was really cool to see. I was watching that match and I saw like a row of Orange County fans. I'm like, man, I didn't expect anyone to be there. I think it was probably a player's following or fans or family that was at a match. But what are your thoughts on this match? I'll go to you first, Brad. Orange County, this was one of those matches where you probably can pencil in as a pretty good potential to a loss because it's only a few days after playing in Vegas. It's in Miami. Humidity's like crazy, and they still pull it out. And they look good in this match, right, Brad?
Yeah. I don't know if I would go as far as to say they quote unquote look good. More so, I think we as the podcast and the two of us plus Dylan, when we were previewing this match last week, really put a lot of emphasis on Miami actually was a better team than we gave them credit for. 100% couldn't have been more wrong. Miami had more of the ball. Miami had more of the opportunities and really failed across the board to keep Orange County off the board with what limited opportunities we have. Whether that's, the team has just found their success and know how to score the ball a little bit more effectively, or Miami's defense was just that atrocious, making a lot of mistakes. I couldn't be the one to judge. This team, however, really really put together a complete performance on defense. I know we allowed 2 goals, but look, that first goal that Miami scored was an absolute screamer. I don't fault Rando for not getting a save there. It was just a really nice play shot that reminded me a lot of what Kylian Mbappe did today, although without a little bit of the dribbling flair. He kind of had the ball, go in front of him. And then congratulations to Efren Solis for his first ever goal, and really, hands down, Mr. Silla coming off the bench this game, giving him the opportunity to get that goal is absolutely, phenomenal. Good job all around. For those of you, we obviously aren't there in the highlight. Silla has the ball after Orange County makes a turnover in the defensive third. They send the ball, to Solis running down the field, and one on two with the keeper. He passes the ball off to Solis, who just gets the dribble it in. And then obviously, I know on the screen, Baizini's first goal out of 2 this game. Wonder that's got to be something of goal of the year candidate already and assist of the year. I know Larry was probably going to call it out. He called it out in our behind the scenes chat that we usually do when we're watching games. Absolute barn burner of a cross, and Baizini's just informed now. He's killing it right now, and I can't wait to have him on the show soon.
Yeah, really quick, I want to jump in before I give Larry the mic, because you're forgetting, Brad. I was the one last week that was saying that Las Vegas is overrated. 2 of their victories were over Brooklyn and Jacksonville, so let's not be too scared of them. I was confident in this team heading to this. I think you and Dylan were the ones that were a little bit more pessimistic on what could happen in this result. I got what I wanted to see, even though I couldn't remember the scoreline when I'm talking about it a few minutes ago. Larry, go for it. Talk about this match.
Go, Brad. You had something to say. Go ahead. Please.
Yeah, or the team we played. We played Miami, not Las Vegas. Ray.
He'll figure it out.
Whatever.
Brad, we just gotta sometimes we gotta let Ray just roll along, and let Ray be Ray.
Go ahead,
right?
Larry.
You know what? The start of this game. Yes, Andy.
Be nice to Ray.
I'm always nice to Ray. Brad's not laughing at Ray right now. He's laughing in his direction. There's a difference.
Extra nice to Raymond.
Does he need to be held?
Go, Larry. Talk.
I was concerned about going into this game. I was not on the show the previous week, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But I was concerned going into this game because the team went from Las Vegas, like we've already said, Las Vegas to Miami. And I don't know if you're aware, I didn't know exactly where Florida Atlantic or Florida International or whatever international university was. I didn't know the exact position of it. So I looked up on the map. Like 6 miles away, if you go 6 miles west from there, you are in the swamps of Florida, of South Florida. So I'm thinking about the humidity. I'm thinking about the travel. I'm thinking this might not go well. Then Miami scores, and I'm thinking, oh crap, this is not going to be a good night for us. But after that first 20 minutes, it was all Orange County. The boys played absolutely fantastic. They were solid, upside down, backwards, forwards, you name it. Bazzini's goal, I don't honestly, unless something really spectacular happens the second half of the season, I don't even know why we would put any other goal and assist up for goal and assist of the year, because those were spectacular. Jameer dropped that pass onto his foot. Bazzini slid, blasted it up left corner. Absolutely fantastic. Just a great finish. And then to see Yaniv get a brace, that was I loved seeing that, because I really like this guy. I too am looking forward to getting him on the show. Rando had a couple of nice saves. Had a mistake that allowed a goal. Not a big deal, because at the end of the day, we put 4 on the board, and that's all that really matters, is we scored more than them. But after that first 20 minutes, the team really played a good soccer game. Danny had a good plan. I thought that the boys looked a little bit winded, but they sucked it up, and they played a great, I'm going to say, 70 minutes of soccer. Now, I hope that we get the opportunity to get Efren Solis on the show so we can talk about his first career goal. because I would like to ask him, did you have any thought about giving the ball back to Oos to let him get the goal? And I actually want to hear him look straight in the camera and go, hell no, that was all mine. So good for him on getting that. Good on the team for picking up 6 points on the road in back-to-back in a tough situation, playing 2 games like that, not coming home. They got to do it again this week, going to Rhode Island, and then where are we going to? Loudon, I think. So I'm sure that they're staying on the road for those as well. So that's going to be another, tough couple of games. But I think at the end of the day, this team is really firing on all cylinders right now. Danny Stone has this team locked in. We've got goals coming from a lot of different directions right now. I don't care if we don't have anybody in double digits for the season. Doesn't mean a thing to me at this point, because we're getting production from here, and here. As long as the team keeps doing that, we are going to be very dangerous in the second half of the season. That's it for me.
Larry, you bring
Hartford.
You bring up something I'm really curious about is what the travel is like right now for Orange County, because they went from Vegas to Miami. I don't know. Did they come home from Miami, then go back to Rhode Island, or the East Coast, and then they're going to be in Rhode Island? I mean, it almost makes sense. I mean, they're going to probably stay for Hartford because that's a midweek match. But yeah, it's interesting because, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think players in the USL Championship, or really soccer in general, go through what maybe baseball players or basketball players do, where you have these long, prolonged road trips of like 13, 14 days. But the schedule is sort of leading to, does it make more sense logistically to just stay on the East Coast, and not have to get adjusted to time zones like that? I'd be very interested to know how that's all working for Orange County. Yeah, I was very pleased with the match and the results. Yeah, I got a little bit nervous when we conceded that first goal, because you could see maybe a tired, sort of out of sorts Orange County team for the first maybe 15, 20 minutes of this match, which is expected. They traveled 3 time zones for a midweek match. They literally had 3 off days between matches, and part of that is the travel of going from Vegas to Miami, which, regardless if you have a direct flight, the time zone difference and all that, you have to get your body adjusted, which, again, these players aren't used to that type of adjustment so quickly. But once they found their form and got into the match, I mean, they look like the Orange County we've been seeing all season, looking solid, playing. I believe it was Tyson Espy and Benalcazar were our outside backs, which those aren't the traditional natural positions for those players. I know Benalcazar can play anywhere. We've learned that now in his 15 months with the club or whatever. He can pretty much play anywhere you need to put him, and he'll be successful. But for young Tyson Espy to be out on the wing in a match like this, and the rotation that we had, I mean, it was awesome to see. And Orange County, if they keep playing like this on the road, I think it's going to be awesome. I think it'll be very nice, and I'm looking forward to it. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on this victory in Miami before we move on?
Yeah, I got one quick thought. I kind of did highlight it. I looked up a little bit more of the stats in the time. Orange County had 20 touches in the box this game compared to Miami's 42. Now, I know this is something that on paper looks a lot scarier than really what it is. Orange County's just kind of been able to do a lot more with less over the entire season. That's kind of been the strategy of be solid defensively, counterattack, and the team's kind of figured out exactly what they need to do in order to keep scoring goals and winning these games and getting results. So big shout out to Coach Danny Stone for having a game plan that's seemingly, working every week and giving the team opportunities across the board. But as soon as we have a game where we don't convert on these opportunities that we get, because we are getting a little bit less than the average opponent, we're going to be in for a long episode of us talking about how we're better than this and how we're going to need to rebound, because we can't sustain 4 goals on 4 shots all game, for every game. And I love seeing the team actually scoring on these opportunities, because how many times in seasons past have we said good teams make their luck, and we're not a good team right now. We're a good team right now. We're making some good luck out there.
There we go. You already talked about the upcoming match against Rhode Island, so we're going to move on now to other soccer talk. Obviously, the World Cup is the big soccer news going on right now. What I'm going to ask of each of you, and we didn't prepare for this, so I apologize if I'm throwing y'all to a quick thought here, is I just want to get, like, what is your biggest, like, storylines thus far with what you've seen in the World Cup? And it can go up to anything that's even going on right now with Mexico and Ecuador playing. I'll start with you, Larry. Biggest storyline for you, or biggest story for you in this World Cup so far?
Is Christian Pulisic healthy for tomorrow? They say yes. We'll find out. Of course, the biggest thing I think that happened is Paraguay losing 4-1 to the United States and then knocking Germany out of the tournament. I really greatly enjoyed that. I'm not going to lie. And I think, though, Ray, that we're going to have to back up a little bit. I think we have to talk about that right there on the screen, don't we? Just a brief moment.
I mean, I was going to get to there after World Cup talk, but go for it.
No, let's continue on with World Cup talk, and we'll go back. The World Cup has been a lot of fun. I'm very much looking forward to the game tomorrow night. I think we should handle it very easily. I think that Mexico is probably the most luckiest team by getting some very weak teams in their pool, and Ecuador is not all that fantastic either. So Mexico has gotten the benefit of a very good draw, because if you look at the other two teams that got all 9 points in group play, France and Argentina, the two teams that are favored to go all the way to the end, who probably will go all the way to the end. So Mexican fans, I'm sorry, I'm part Mexican too, but I don't think they're nearly as good as what we have seen so far, because the 4 opponents they played aren't really that fantastic.
Brad, your thoughts?
Yeah,
your big story so far.
I got 2 big stories. Obviously, I feel like I got to just touch real quickly on the fact that this top scorer Golden Boot race is a 3-legged race right now between 2 of the best in the world. One of them is 37, 38, and the other one's in his late 20s, like a decade younger. Kylian Mbappe and Lionel Messi are absolutely just tearing it up right now. They each have 6 goals. Messi still has to play his next game, but he's 39 and he's got 6 goals in the World Cup. He's smashed the record. But Kylian Mbappe, a whole 12 years younger, is right on his heels of most goals at World Cup all time. And Holland, in his first World Cup, has 5. Like, this has been an absolutely fantastic tournament, which leads me into my second point. Every single issue that people were talking about leading into this World Cup, oh, you're letting more cupcake teams in, like Cabo Verde and Curacao. Sure, Curacao and Haiti didn't put too much of a nail in, in the group stages, but for all of those teams that everyone says, man, we added an extra 12 teams, this tournament's going to be a lot weaker. It hasn't looked at all a lot weaker. Maybe, sure, there's a little bit of head scratchers in the third place qualifiers moving on, and 48 teams just is weird in that regard, but the quality of matches has not dipped. The stadiums have been full almost every game, even at these outrageously, ridiculously expensive ticket prices that we see here, which is an issue in of itself that we need to address as a society later on. But lastly, the one that people have been up in arms, and I think rightfully so, is the fact that we're still talking about these quote unquote hydration breaks. The Mexico games in Mexico City, it's not ridiculously hot there, but these are just commercial breaks, for Fox and for all the broadcasters around the world who are taking advantage of that. And I don't blame them for doing that. But, it's led to some weird off chances, quarterly. And I know Ray's agreeing with me there. It's literally the only thing we agreed on last week, but that still remains the only negative of this tournament.
Really quick, just because of time constraints, here's my quick thought. Pressure's on U.S. because the other host nations are moving on. U.S., you better do it or you're going to be laughed at. Let's do this really quick. Coach Danny Stone, mid-season Coach of the Year. Is this the first time that this has been like a thing? I've never seen this in the past. Has this happened in the past? Mid-season Coach of the Year or any other awards? It has?
Yeah.
Man, I don't pay attention.
They don't make a big deal about it, but they usually have a quick comment. I know Larry had a quick comment because I touched on something.
Quick, Larry, because we have 3 minutes left.
That's okay. I'm going to make this very fast. The only people complaining about the water breaks are overweight, middle-aged men who can't even go out and run a freaking half mile right now. They need to shut up and just deal with it. It's water. It's hydration. It's important. Let them take a drink of water. Okay, I got that off my chest. Thank you. And Danny Stone absolutely should be the mid-season Coach of the Year. There's no question whatsoever in there. I frustrated Ray. He left us, Brad. What are we going to do now?
It's okay. I'll take over here. 100% Danny Stone has been the Coach of the Year. Orange County looks like a threat in the West. I wonder, the only contender that I would have would be the Tampa Bay team, who have been absolutely lighting up the East. Excuse me. I think those were the only two coaches that really are deserving of this award. I think I wouldn't have even complained if you would have given it to let me just make sure I get the name correct here.
And may I just point out that Alexi Lawless predicted something correct. Ecuador just got a player sent off in the 95th minute, and he said that this game would end with somebody getting a red card. Good job, Alexi.
All right.
75 seconds.
While Brad looks up a name here, Brad, share that name in our random thoughts. Let's wrap things up here. Random thoughts or what did we learn? Larry, I'll go to you first. What did you learn or random thought? You could do one or the other.
Random thought. Matt from Raising Anchor is highly knowledgeable. The guy is very much on top of his stuff, knows what he's talking about. I'm looking forward to joining them on Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and, just bringing the passion of Orange County Soccer Club because we all know I don't know tactics.
Yeah, I'll take over. Dominic Casciato is the coach of the Rowdies. I knew I was going to mess that up, so I had to make sure I got it right. And my random thought is don't be like JPP of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Don't hold fireworks in your hand as they go off. It's not worth losing a finger. Be safe out there. Have a good 4th. Don't drink and drive, and make sure you're enjoying your fireworks responsibly.
And my thing is going to be, what did I learn? I learned apparently that Larry doesn't want any good goal scoring from our team this year because he's already calling out the best goal and assist of the year. So now our players are going to sit back and be like, hey, I have no shot at this, so might as well not even try. Thank you, Larry. You're the one. If our season goes down the drain, it's your fault for that. I do want to say apology ahead of time to those of you in New England, especially Rhode Island, for Orange County ruining your 4th of July with a loss to your Rhode Island FC this weekend. I'm apologizing ahead of time. Don't take it out on me. Just the better team's winning. I don't know.
You froze.
Okay, let's wrap this up. Sorry about that. Let's wrap things up. I want to thank everyone for joining us in this episode, including our guest, Matt, who joined us from Raising Anchor, also my co-hosts, Brad and Larry, producer Andy, and all of you that have been listening to this episode. Thank you for doing so. This is the Orange and Black SoccerCast, and we are out.